This video is a background introduction to the hydrology of wetlands, which is the theory we need to discover if we are to perform this week's assignment, which is a data lab looking at the hydrology of wetlands. So hydrology is the interaction between freshwater and its environment. That includes precipitation, water flowing above ground, as well as through the ground as groundwater. And through hydrology, we understand how various aquatic ecosystems become formed, and that allows us to understand the various biota that live there. Now, in this week's lectures, we would have discussed the various different types of aquatic freshwater environments we find, including still or lentic habitats. And we would have discovered the difference between both exorheic and endorheic wetlands. So an endorheic wetland is one where the water doesn't flow anywhere else once it has entered the wetland. This is opposed to an exorheic wetland where there's a surface water traveling out of the wetland as well. In this practical, we're going to understand the hydrology of a particularly unique endorheic wetland called the Tswaing Crater Lake. So behind me, you can see Tswaing Crater Lake. This lake is a really unusual kind of wetland because it wasn't formed by any normal processes such as uplift or erosion. Instead, it was formed by a collision with the Earth by an object from outer space. This was a meteoroid of approximately 60 meters across, which slammed into the Earth approximately 200,000 years ago. When it impacted, it vaporized instantaneously in an explosion approximately 500 times more powerful than the atomic bomb that wiped out the city of Hiroshima at the end of World War II. Now, after this explosion, we were left with a gigantic bowl-shaped crater approximately a kilometer across and 100 meters deep, which you can see behind me. So after the impact, this crater slowly started to erode over time as rainfall started to wear down the surrounding walls. And this meant that water started to slowly accumulate in the center of the crater. Now over time, this lake began to fill with both water from the runoff as well as various sediments and salts that were being eroded off the walls. Now, because those salts had nowhere to go, they all accumulated in the center, and even as water would slowly percolate up or percolate down into the groundwater, the salt remained at the surface. This meant that the lake became extremely saline over time. And that fact is linked to the name of this place. Tswaing means place of salt in the Setswana language, and that means that people have known about this place and its source of salt for many communities over the centuries.